Hello, one and all, and welcome to episode 436 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, live on YouTube. If you've stuck through to the final of today's live videos, thank you very, very much indeed. But if you're watching the recording, that's fine as well. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do consider doing so. And if you would like to find out how you can support my work, you should be able to see a link to my Ko-fi page in the video description below. And I'm going to say something now at the start of this video that I didn't say at all in the other three videos. If you enjoy the video, please do consider giving it a thumbs up. First comment for this one goes to Mache, who says, exciting. Jeff Sheen says, was L'Air Du Temps the inspiration behind Heaven Can Wait? Really curious. I don't think it was, actually. I don't think it was. Shan says, thrilling. Rachel says, beautiful. Swoon. I'm going to go kapow, like we're in a comic book. Maudlin says, this one brings back memories of seeing it on my mother's vanity with those pretty Lalique birds. I haven't got the birds on this one, actually. Shan says, I really should try to get some sleep, though. It's almost midnight. Have you eaten yet? So when were you cooking up a storm for? Have you already eaten? Okay, let's get through this then. There was a fair amount of talk lately about L'Air Du Temps in relation to the Estee Lauder Legacy Collection, the quintet of scents curated, put together by Frederick Mal. You will find a review of those on this channel. You will find an interview with him on my Substack. And he talked about how Estee, as in the perfume Estee, can trace its lineage back to scents like L'Air Du Temps. And it got me thinking that I haven't smelt L'Air Du Temps for a while. I mean, generally, it is considered now that current L'Air Du Temps is nothing like the original. If you start doing a little bit of research, you find out that that is considered to be because of the heavy usage in this stuff of benzyl salicylate. It was apparently one of the highest dosages of benzyl salicylate that was used in a perfume. It's a kind of green floral material that is actually perhaps more important for the effect that it creates rather than its odor itself. It gives florals a beautiful kind of bouquet-like sheen, almost as though the flowers are kind of wrapped in the cellophane that you get from a flower shop. And I did a little bit of scouring on other auction sites are available, and it actually wasn't very difficult to find this. And I mean, good for me, but kind of sadly, it didn't also cost a huge amount. It arrived. It was sealed. It was sealed in cellophane. The seller didn't know exactly when it was from. I reckon it's an 80s bottle. I don't know. I don't know if you guys out there, know what this sort of look, where it dates it. I don't mind showing you this. Maybe if somebody might be able to kind of find out. I think it's an 80s bottle. I think if it had the birds engraved on it, then that would have made it a 90s bottle. And I know it must be, pre-crazy reformulation, because it's beautiful. It's really heavenly. I am not going to put this on a blotter again because I have got a kind of pre-dipped blotter. I'm going to put some directly on skin. Before doing this video, I allowed Madame Persolaise to smell some. I actually did, and she just swooned straight away, and she just immediately said, what is it about those sorts of perfumes? She said, sometimes I just want to wear a really beautiful floral, but I don't have anything like that in my collection. And I said, well, you wouldn't have anything like that like this in your collection because we're not allowed to make stuff like this anymore. And I said also, rightly or wrongly, if I told her that if she were to wear something like this, she would come across as wearing something old-fashioned, because I think vintage L'Air Du Temps doesn't actually have a retro quality, as in kind of ironic retro. It just has an old-fashioned quality to it, all out old-fashioned. Now, whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing is up to you, but I think you kind of need to know that that's the effect you create if you wear it. Rachel says, exactly. What are you saying exactly to? I would like to know what it is that I have said that's prompted you to say exactly. Anyway, let's have a smell of this gorgeous stuff. It's just so Rich, Eric says florals are now prized for their legibility, not really their harmonic beauty. Yes, you're absolutely right. We've talked about this here before. And I think, to go back to Frederick Malle, it's sort of what he was trying to say when he said that we want perfumes nowadays to be instantly and immediately understandable. That's the word, that's the way he put it. Whereas I, have sort of said immediate legibility. Rachel says both that we aren't allowed to make fragrances like this anymore and that it reads old-fashioned. Yes. So you immediately place this as a floral. Obviously, you place it as a floral. And actually, I think you kind of place it as a sort of carnation-y lily, or a lilyish carnation. But there is also so much more going on there. There is this abstract bouquet. I mean, the clothy note is, to me, also aligning it with something like Après l'Ondée, which is almost like a sort of Après l'Ondée that's found some optimism and found some hope, and is going to rejoice in the spirit of the times. L'Air du Temps, of course, was kind of immortalized in a film, wasn't it, in the 80s? You know what I'm talking about. What is it? You use Evian Skins cream and you wear L'Air du Temps, but not today. Somebody immediately, who's going to be the first one to say what movie that's from? While I smell this, come on, folks, you know the film. Okay, I'm going to carry on talking until somebody gets that reference. Eric says, I think Jour d'Hermès. Where's that comment gone? I think Jour d'Hermès takes up this mantle well. Abstract, luminous, floral. Chayanka says Silence of the Lambs. Yes, absolutely. It's such a fantastic choice for Clarice, because in a way it was like a bad choice. I talked about Silence of the Lambs and that scene on the Radio 4 film program quite a few years ago. You should be able to find a link to that episode over on the blog. The Quiet Animals with Anthony Hopkins. Oh, nicely done, Paul. Very good. Jour d'Hermès is a very, very good mention, because when I was talking to Madame Persolaise about this, I did think to myself, well, if I gave her a bottle of Jour, she probably wouldn't want to wear it, because I think she'd appreciate the smell of it, but she wouldn't want to smell old-fashioned. And I think maybe that's why Jour didn't quite find an audience. I mean, I thought it was beautiful. And then when they did the Gardenia version, I thought that was stunning as well. But we kind of don't seem to want to go there. So L'Air du Temps, yeah, really, really fantastic kind of honeyed, ambery note in the base. We should say, of course, that it was composed by Francis Fabron, and I'd forgotten the other things that he made, but I'm looking them up here. We've got him to thank for Bagari from Piguet, Monsieur Givenchy from Givenchy, Le D from Balenciaga, and also something called Capricci from Nina Ricci, which I don't know at all. And of course, Givenchy's L'Interdit. So, quite a few amazing perfumes to his name there. Oh, and Rachel says, by the way, your recent review of Zone of Interest is fabulous. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving the Substack a plug. Yes, the latest article on the Substack is a film review, a review of The Zone of Interest, a film which I'm sure I should not be talking about with a manic smile on my face, because it is so not a smiley movie, but extraordinary. Thank you for reading it, Rachel. Let's do the pre-sprayed, pre-dipped, I should say, because this was just pre-dipped. Even better, because of course this was a time, 1948, I should have said as well, when perfumes didn't mind taking a while to get going. They didn't expect you to understand them within 30 seconds of, even 5 seconds of being sprayed. Actually, you dab them or spray them, and then you'd sort of stop thinking about them for half an hour or so, and then you would get to appreciate them. That floral note is so well sustained. The ambery base is ever so slightly sweet, not overdone, but very, very clovey as well. Much clovier than I expected. And the imagery that went with it, the doves, the imagery of peace, the imagery of tenderness, of delicateness, was just so spot on. So my message to you is, if you are ever on the other auction sites are available, or actually any other auction site or anywhere, and if you do find what reliably looks like a vintage L'Air du Temps, And if it's not going to break the bank, I think it kind of is one that needs to be in your collection, because as far as florals from the mid part of the 20th century go, it really, really, really takes some beating. It's just so romantic. It's so romantic. But I think it's also romantic in an unashamedly feminine way. You know, I'm going to leave you with this one, another movie reference. When Krzysztof Kieślowski, the late Krzysztof Kieślowski, my favorite director, made The Double Life of Veronique, he said he wanted to make a film that was going to be completely driven by emotion, a sort of emotion-driven plot, and also a very, very feminine perspective on emotion. Now, whether or not he succeeded is maybe something that we will leave to the Substack for one day, because he's also a lot of the time been accused of having a very, very male perspective on femininity and female emotions. But to me, L'Air du Temps feels like something that is just unashamedly and beautifully and assertively feminine, which of course does not mean that it can't be worn by a man. I'm going to go now. Thank you very much for watching not just this episode, but if you watch the other 3, thank you very much for watching those as well. Stay tuned to social media for details of other videos coming your way. But until then, dig out your favorite vintage and just dab on a few drops and enjoy them, because the stuff doesn't last forever. Thank you very much. See you soon. Bye now.